Brad.
Hey, Sal.
Puerto Williams is the southernmost town in the world. It's
Yes.
in Ecuador.
No.
Argentina?
No,
Chile.
it's in Chile.
All right, we've visited a lot of places. I don't know what happened there.
Right. Yeah.
Should we start again? Hey, Brad.
Hey, Sal. No, it's in Chile, but I mean Argentina's across the not the Beagle Channel. Is it the Beagle Channel?
Maybe.
Yeah. That's where the MS Beagle came through with Darwin.
That was
So
interesting.
Ushuaia is right across the water from Puerto Williams.
We took a super tiny little plane.
Oh yeah.
And that was really fun. It was so small. It had 4 seats.
I think
plus
it had
the pilot.
6, but there was only 4 or 5 of us on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is reach out and touch your pilot kind of plane. So security was great.
It was
Put
beautiful.
your stuff on, let's go.
Yeah. It was beautiful though.
Yeah.
Flying over the mountains down there, it's very rugged and really stunning.
And you just see the glaciers. I mean, you're flying at 4,000, 5,000 feet, whatever, and these glaciers are just coming down into the lakes, and they're not lakes, it's part of the ocean, but it's just beautiful. I mean, I was really looking forward to the flight back and seeing that again, but we got down there and there was like 100 people coming back, so they brought in the big plane and it went up to 20,000 feet. So.
It was the 737, I think.
Yeah, it was big jet, and it was one of those jets like, oh yeah, we'll take you to Antarctica if you want, because that's the kind of different times of year you have a lot to deal with down there.
Mm-hmm. Puerto Williams is a very small town. We struggled a bit trying to find a place to stay. I would suggest getting a travel agent to make arrangements for you, unless you have really good Spanish skills or you have some connections.
Yeah.
We ended up staying in a place that was pretty spendy, and it was delightful, but it was a little bit more than I would have liked to have spent.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to go down there, and we were originally going to go to Ushuaia across the channel, in Argentina. But it's like a 10-hour bus ride to get there, and we had someone tell us that they didn't like it. But if I went back, I would go to Ushuaia as well, and you can take a ferry across to Puerto Williams if you have some great desire to see it. It was cool. I mean, the dry dock boats I thought were fabulous, and they had a library/museum that had Wi-Fi, so it started raining on us, and so we spent an hour on Wi-Fi and checking out the museum. That was really cool.
Yeah,
so.
The museum was really interesting. It talked a lot about the indigenous people who lived in the area, and I thought that was instructive. It was nice to read about. It's hard to imagine them living there at all. I mean, it is quite chilly. And they were successful. There's a lot of these guanacos, which are kind of like a alpaca sort of animal, and I think that they were hunting those animals and using their skins for furs to keep warm.
Yeah, I guess they don't taste very good, but the furs were obviously the animals living down there. It's nice, thick, warm, so they were using that.
There's Darwin's Rias.
Yeah, it's like a short ostrich.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
I think I read that those taste good.
Oh, okay.
So they must have been. I think they were fishing probably as well.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you're right on the water.
But it's just interesting to be in that entire region, because so much of the names are influenced by Darwin and then by Magellan, because the Strait of Magellan is right there as well.
Yeah.
And then it was interesting to know that we visited the southernmost town in the world.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
There were horses, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
It snowed while we were there.
In the summertime.
Right.
There were parakeets. A lot of the parakeets flying in flocks. They're quite loud and interesting to see, and surprising again. Not something you expect to see so far south.
Right. Yeah, parakeets. You expect that in a tropical.
Yeah.
And they were here. Little bulky guys, because they have to have some fat on them to keep them warm.
We had some really delicious empanadas.
Yeah.
They did not settle well for me.
Right. Yeah, they were so good.
We had
I
crab.
think crab empanadas. And this was just, we're walking around town, and there's this little restaurant. You just walk in and yeah.
They had the fire going. We had to take off all of our clothes.
Right. Yeah. We're all
Tons
fumbled
of
up.
layers
you know,
of clothes.
Yeah.
Not all of our clothes, but
Right.
much of our clothes.
Yeah. All of our winter gear for sure.
There wasn't a lot to see there, but it was very interesting. So my thought on Puerto Williams is if you can find a way to get there and stay affordably, reasonably, because it wasn't reasonable. What we paid was very, very expensive. I think we paid $250 or something each night.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't that it wasn't worth it. It was a great hotel, but for our purposes, it didn't seem like it didn't warrant that kind of an expense.
It was the most expensive stay on our entire year trip.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? So I wouldn't do it again. I would go to Ushuaia, which is across the way, and then take a ferry over to Puerto Williams to, walk through the boats and see the town.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing is to get on that ferry to take you up, and that's where you're going to be going through. I don't know if they call them fords, but
I think they do.
All the inlets, and you're going to be seeing these, glaciers as you travel, and that's really what I would go back for.
And hiking.
Yeah. Hiking and Torres del Paine for sure. I
Right.
would want to go back and there's just so much there. Even if you don't backpack, there's 7 miles. You're going to have some long hikes. Like we did the one hike that was 15 miles. It was tough because it was not flat 15 miles. It was
Right.
a significant elevation change.
Since we're talking about this region, do you want to talk about Porvenir in this recording, or do you want to talk about it separately?
I think we can talk about it now because there really wasn't a whole lot to it. I got some great pictures of dry dock boats. I mean, some of them were just painted with these great faces and nice colors. So, yeah, Porvenir, we couldn't find a restaurant open. We ate crackers and cheese from a little market because
3 days.
because there was some kind of holiday going on.
Mm-hmm. There was only 5 restaurants. It's a small town on the island of Tierra del Fuego. We went there. We took the ferry there for the purpose of seeing the king penguins.
King penguins, yeah.
Which
And
they were pretty neat.
they were, but there were only 60 of them, and you were a considerable distance away. You're probably 50 yards at the closest to these guys,
Yeah.
and most of them were off in the ocean. So, time of year has a big part of when, if there were 1,000 of them, that might have been different. But
That's a good tip.
Yeah, so find out when they're onshore. Because you see the little ones, and they're this, fur ball, and all the others are, these, beautiful, and they're, sticking their beaks up and talking. So it was cool. It would have been better if there were more.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go back to Porvenir. I would do the ferry over in the morning, do your 2-hour drive out to see the penguins, drive back and head back over.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I had a lot of resentment about our lunches because they always were pretty, like we had squeezed 2 pate and cheese and crackers, and we drank wine, and that was...
No, it was fine.
It was fine, but it was, no restaurants.
No,
I think we did have a meal at a restaurant. We finally found a place.
She had breakfast for us. So
but there was also some place that sold a salmon dinner.
Maybe that was a couple days later
It
before
was a
we
couple
left.
days later before
Yeah.
we left, but
yeah, so.
you always need to check if there's a holiday because not everywhere is like
Right,
where
and
you
this
come
was
from, and they
kind of-
have different holidays.
Yeah, it was, I call it obscure because I hadn't heard of it before. Some Christian holiday that,
Shut the town down.
yeah, South America. It's not something I'd heard of in the States, I'll say that. So,
Yeah.
not that I follow holidays here, but, Easter, Christmas, all the usual stuff.
Uh-huh.
But, so you got to be prepared for that.
Hopefully
It
there's
wasn't
a
the
place
first time. And,
you can buy cheese and crackers.
Right, won't be the last either. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
But
have
that's good.
anything to add to that. I
No.
think that we have good tips on that, and
Yeah.
that wraps it up.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Al.